Hello and welcome back to the Blue North. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the timeline that led up to Donald Trump's closing the border and banning flights from Europe to the United States. And now the Democrats had time to really mull over this timeline, but yet they still don't use facts. We're seeing that the Democrats and the left are still going on without facts, not using any facts to really check their stuff. But nobody's fact checking them from the mainstream media, which is an ongoing problem for me. In some of my podcasts, I've explained this. But they're getting a free pass again. They're getting to attack the president on stuff that is really quite hilarious, if you ask me. So we see in December 31st was when the first pneumonia case was alerted to the World Health Organization from China. Now, on December 31st, they had a pneumonia case that they really had no treatment for. They couldn't, nothing was working. So it must have raised a red flag, and they contacted the World Health Organization. Now, that was at the end of the year, the very beginning of 2020. Keep in mind, the Democrats are calling for Trump to have acted in January. So the timeline for January itself, it was January 1, China closed the wet markets and they closed some of the seafood markets. On the 3rd of January, they had 44 cases. Now, that's the first week. They had 44 cases. China identified the coronavirus sequence. So that's that molecule that you see them posting on the internet and on TV when they talk about COVID-19. It was on the 7th of January is when China had released that sequence. Now, that sequence, when they released it, was to help every country come up with something like a vaccine if they could, because this is the molecular structure of COVID-19. Now, on the 9th of January, starting the second week of the year, that's when the first person died in China. Now, this is when the Democrats were expecting Donald Trump to close the border, because you're in your second week already. So they're saying that January is when Donald Trump should have acted, and he didn't, and he failed the American people. So MSNBC, NBC, all of the, like New York Times, you name it, they're all calling for Trump to have done something in January. But really, starting the second week of January, we see that only one person had died. So would that have qualified him shutting down the border? No, it wouldn't have. Now, on the 12th of January, we see that China the 15th, China had its second person die. So 2 people, and you're already starting your 3rd week of January. But now the Democrats, keep in mind, are wanting Donald Trump to have started something already. So 2 people have died as of January 15th. Now on the 18th, 200 people and a 3rd person had died. So 3 people, and there was 200 cases of corona in China. And that was on the 18th. Still, the Democrats are expecting the border to have been closed, Donald Trump to be acting for the people, and everything else. But I'm going to show you that the Democrats, into the middle of March, couldn't care less about the people of their cities in some of the most major populations in the United States. Now, on the 21st of January, the World Health Organization confirms that human-to-human transmission is possible with COVID. So, January 21. So we're almost through January. And now the Democrats would have you believe that Donald Trump, based on these numbers, should have closed the border and should have done more to prevent the COVID-19. Now, on the 23rd of January, the WHO, the World Health Organization, decides to not declare an outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. So basically what they're saying is by the 23rd of January, they're saying there's no threat outside of China. So we're almost to February, and they're saying no threat outside of China. By the 30th of January, they're now saying it is a threat. So we're into February. The Democrats are still trying to hold Trump accountable for stuff from January, keep in mind. Now, on the 31st, the US declares COVID-19 a health emergency. So he did declare a health emergency in January, realizing that there is something potentially coming that they're not prepared for. But he's already preparing. He's doing everything he can, but nobody at this point has really had any idea what they're dealing with. So the Chinese officials call on the United States not to overreact. Don't overreact. Don't start a panic. Don't tell people that they can't do anything. We need you to just be calm and resolved, and we're going to get through this. Don't start a panic, because they were afraid of the stock markets and all of the other things that went along with this as it went, like we all seen it eventually. So on February 25th, that was on February 3rd. Now on the February 25th, the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention says to prepare for COVID, it's coming. So now we're at the end of February. So why is the Democrats trying to tell the American people that, because it's an election year, I get it, but why are they trying to sell fear and a failure of Donald Trump all the way back to January, when we see that the world wasn't even, there was hardly anything going on outside of China at that time. But yet they're trying to say, but I guess it's not a surprise if you can impeach a president for a phone call, and you can try to impeach him for Russian collusion, and you can spend 25 million on a bogus Russian, the Mueller report and all that. This is nothing, right? Going back and saying that your president should have done more based on absolutely no evidence. They're good at that, no evidence. So the World Health Organization on February 28th released this statement. This is a reality check for every government on the planet. Wake up. Get ready. This virus may be on its way, and you need to be ready. And that was from Dr. Michael Ryan. He's an executive director at the World Health Organization. Now, on the 29th of February, the World Health Organization warns against travel bans. So the World Health Organization is advising countries to not ban travel. Seems a little bit weird, but the Democrats and Joe Biden are basically they're reiterating the same thing, saying that this isn't going to be effective. On March 11th, the U.S. bans flights from Europe. And of course, the chorus of Democrats calling this racist and excessive and a power grab, and it hits the airwaves. It hits the news, and the media is pushing it, and Donald Trump is overstepping, and he's power hungry, and he's doing things that are racist, and you name it. They all came out. Now, they're calling today, in the middle of April, they're calling Donald Trump weak in that he never acted. But we see in March he acted, and he acted shortly after the World Health Organization said not to do it. He was advised by the World Health Organization to not act, to not ban. So, on March 11th, the Democrat mayor of New York, the same day that Trump closed the borders, that Trump banned flights, when Trump was putting the country first, Democrats were selling out the people that voted them into office. We're seeing in major cities de Blasio, we're seeing Pelosi, we're seeing the health minister for the state of New York, we're seeing New York senators, we're seeing the mayor of New Orleans, we were seeing all kinds of people. So New York, New Orleans, San Francisco, these mayors and representatives are saying, get out, ride the subway, go for dinner, get to Chinatown, share, do the things we always do. We're a hardy bunch. New York is a hardy bunch. We're resilient. Our preparedness is greater than the risk. De Blasio was on MSNBC and CNN saying all the time, that there's no real risk here. The risk is really low. The symptoms aren't that much worse than a common cold. And now that's in March, on March 11th. So they're saying that Trump should have acted in January, but yet they were fighting against Trump's actions even in March. Their blind hatred for the man has given them this, this inability to just be human, to have empathy and sympathy, or to even put the concern of healthy people first. They were just willing to let people go out and get sick. Why? Because Trump had banned flights. Trump had tried to do his part to start getting people to stop doing things they're usually doing to slow this COVID-19 spreading. Now, had everybody been on the same page, do you think that there would have been the numbers today that we see in the United States? Do you think that if the governors and the mayors and the senators and the House of Representatives, if everybody was on the same page, Republican and Democrat, if they put the people first, do you think we would see these same numbers? No, because they would have done what Trump was saying, is stop, don't worry about it. We'll put things in measure, like we'll put measures in place that'll prevent you from losing your house or businesses and whatever else, but we have to stop this. So he was trying his best, and we see that the Democrats were working to undermine him by telling people, get out and share, ride the subway, get to the parade, I'll be there, go for supper, I plan on going for supper, all the way along, telling their people to get out, get out, get out. And then we see that he's saying, now de Blasio is the biggest one for saying Trump's going to let people die in his own town. People are going to he's not doing anything. The Comfort Parks in the harbor, it's just a huge, massive ship with immense abilities to help medically. As it's docking, de Blasio is calling for Trump to do more. Do you think that maybe these people should be held accountable more so than Donald Trump? If they would have listened and followed in Donald Trump's direction by trying to get people to lessen their social activities and distance themselves and really take part in this pandemic that's coming. Take a little ownership of this yourself. Prepare your family, prepare your house, get your groceries so you don't have to go out, buy masks, do whatever. He was already trying by the middle of March to get people to stop doing these things. Now the Democrats are saying he should have done all of this in January, but unfortunately, the Democrats forget that everything is now recorded. So Tucker Carlson's been having a heyday on putting out video after video of Democrats saying, no, 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 don't listen to Trump. Get out there, do this, do that. I guess they were hoping that nobody was going to get COVID-19, that they weren't going to have to actually pay for this if somebody did get sick, that they were never going to be held accountable. Well, now they are, and they should be held accountable. But the mainstream media won't play these videos. They won't play these clips. You have to really look for them, and they're out there. So, yeah, it's just sad that people didn't matter more to some of these Democrats that are in power, that are, influential. When you have Nancy Pelosi and you have de Blasio and Governor Cuomo, and you have a lot of people saying, don't worry about it. It's just a little cold. Get out there and do stuff that you usually do. Get down to Chinatown. We're a hardy bunch. We don't have to worry. This pandemic isn't our thing. We're going to enjoy ourselves, and don't listen to Trump. Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like a high school kid not wanting to listen to his parents, thinking that parents don't know anything. It's like saying that the parents, well, they don't know what we're going through. They've never been through anything, so don't listen to him. Don't listen to Trump. Trump wants to close everything down. And the more we get out and defy Trump, the more it's going to be a thorn in his side. Don't worry about it. And then it turns out, hey, we have a boatload of people sick. We have a boatload of people dying. And then literally Trump sends a huge boat to help, and that doesn't matter. So there's an agenda so heavily ingrained in the Democrats to work against the president that people are actually dying from it. Nancy Pelosi not allowing money to be put through the House to the Senate for votes because she's delaying it to make Trump look bad is costing people their lives. She doesn't care. And then she's sending out videos from her kitchen with two $11,000 refrigerators behind her with tons of ice cream, showcasing how she's, how she's making out during this pandemic of staying at home. She's got a whole thing, one whole freezer just dedicated to ice cream. And she's got umpteen many flavors of ice cream in there. Well, you're out of touch with the everyday people, because I'll tell you right now, if I go to my freezer, I might have a thing of ice cream, not 20 different flavors of ice cream, and I don't have a freezer dedicated just for my ice cream. And I certainly don't have an $11,000 one. But I'm going to stay on top of this. I'm going to follow this up, and I'm going to hound the Democrats when they keep saying that Donald Trump didn't do enough. We're going to showcase with facts, like the right usually uses, we're going to showcase that the Democrats are really grasping at straws for this 2020 election, not just with the candidate that they're using, but with the facts. Stay tuned for more podcasts on the Blue North.